This is E&P Reports, a service of Editor and Publisher magazine. Since 1884, the authoritative voice of news publishing. And hi again, Mike Blinder, publisher of E&P magazine. Today, my guest on E&P Reports is Matt Coen, a name you likely have heard or seen on a stage at various conferences throughout the years. Matt started in our industry in 1997 at Pulitzer. Today, he is the co-founder and owner of Second Street, an audience engagement platform company in St. Louis that for the last 6 years has hosted the Second Street Summit, where hundreds have gone to St. Louis to learn ways to market better, to offer new solutions to their advertisers, and build their own databases. But thanks to COVID-19, Matt has decided to change up this year's summit and make it a virtual month-long event that's free to anyone who wants to participate. And some of the industry's most respected speakers will be joining this month-long conference to help all media companies learn new techniques in email marketing and how to have better engagement with their audience and build those critical databases we need today in order to grow audience and create revenue in very turbulent times. So join me as I go one-on-one with Second Street's co-founder and president, Matt Coen. Matt Coen, welcome to E&P Reports. Are you in St. Louis, sir? I should ask. This is your home.
I am in St. Louis, yes.
So again, Second Street is virtual now? Or are you have anyone in the office in St. Louis? Or are you like keeping things?
We're completely virtual. And it's been, we've translated it very well to that, and it's worked out just great. And I'm back in the home office where I started the company many years ago. So
that's right.
Kind of come full circle.
Yeah, let's see. You've been doing this at Second Street since 2007, right? I remember those days when you launched this company.
Yeah, it's a long story, but for well over a decade we've been doing this. So
now we're here to discuss, and this is pretty exciting stuff. You've taken the famous Second Street Summit, and you're actually going to turn it into a month-long virtual conference. It's underway as we speak. This is the beginning of it. But before we go there, since you are so wired in, you have how many individual media companies now avail themselves of Second Street services? Radio, TV, print?
Yeah, we're really fortunate. We work with over 4,000 media companies.
All sizes, all markets.
All sizes, a huge presence in print with newspapers and magazines and some broadcasters as well on TV and radio.
Okay, so for those that don't know what Second Street is, because we have audience that comes to these from all over, you provide a specific form of digital service, correct, for your media partners, which is, most people think of you as contesting and quizzes. I'm sure it goes beyond that, right? I mean,
yeah, well, it's really an engagement platform. So it is contests. It's any kind of contest you can imagine, a sweepstakes, of photo contest, a video contest, et cetera. And then also interactive content. So it's things like quizzes,
right,
or best of ballots, or brackets, or polls, or surveys. Anything, Mike, that's really important to get somebody to interact, and not just interact, but actually convert. So you say you have to fill out a form because you're incented to win something, incented to provide your point of view, incented to do anything that allows somebody to convert at the end of the day. And then we have a database layer that sits underneath that and the email platform. So it's all about converting somebody from anonymous to known. And that's great for the advertiser if you're doing something with a sponsor, or it's fantastic, obviously, for your newspaper to be able to finally own that database in your market. It unlocks all of the other diversified revenue that's important to us today.
And so few, and again, I'm not going to pontificate here, but so few media companies take that database seriously. We at E&P, that's everything to us. I mean, that data, that list is gold to me, because then I know and I can analyze it. I can look it over every time. And I think more and more media companies have to understand how important it is to have those, just to have those records. Don't you agree? Because from there you can launch anything new. You can build your audience. You can move them into different pages of a website. I mean,
it's everything. It's the fuel of growth in the future. And we've been on this path for over a decade.
Right.
We saw it first when we were in the deals business.
That's right.
And what you saw was 82% of deal purchases happened from the email. You could put it on social, you could put it on all those other kinds of things, but at the end of the day, it happened when you put it on the database. So what was so powerful about that is that we were able to translate that to everything. So we see it from a contest perspective. You can post it on social, you can put it on the website, you can put it in the newspaper, but at the end of the day, it's when that email goes out that everything happens. So it's the number one way that people buy tickets to events. It's the number one way that number one source of subscription, get somebody into that newsletter piece of it. Everything unlocks from the email.
I'm the number one product that I have at E&P that I hold near and dear is that database. It's so important to me. We are so critical of it. We never push anything that editorial doesn't bless, because the last thing I want to do is taint that when we work so hard to build it. But let's now switch to the advertiser side. See, this is what I love about your product, and I don't want to, actually you should pay me now for this, make this a commercial. But the biggest challenge for any industry today is a qualified lead. This is what I scream whenever I'm talking. It's not closing a deal. Put that aside. If you have the right product, and you have the right features and benefits, and you're providing that product, all you need is the qualified human being to present it to. And the neat thing about a quiz or a contest is, if I'm a vegetarian, I'm not going to enter a contest to win a hamburger, right?
Correct.
I mean, that's what it all boils down to. I'm not going to try to win a new roof if I don't own a home. Exactly. Right. If I'm a renter. So I'm helping the advertiser. Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I right?
So there's two ways that people use our platform. One is for their advertisers, and one is for themselves. And that's what I talked about yesterday. And as I launched the conference, is that this has been true, and it's now true more than ever. In the downturn, promotions are what grow the database more, what grow in advertising more than anything else.
I hear you.
And it started in the last downturn. So Gordon Burrell is speaking today about this at 12 Central Time, and his keynote is going to say this is going to accelerate even further. So he's been tracking this information for over a decade, and what you saw in 2008, 2009 was actually there was more money spent on advertising than promotions. But over the last 10 plus years, you've seen significant shift of dollars to promotions. It's now over twice the amount of money spent on promotions relative to advertising. Advertising is still huge, but the shift has gone to promotions because it's just what you're talking about, Mike. It's people want a measurable outcome. And that's what promotions give them, whether it's putting something on sale in your store so people walk in, or if it's a contest that gives you leads. At the end of the day, digital has addicted marketers to measurable outcomes. And that's really what promotions are. So Gordon's going to talk about how this summer in particular, you're going to see, as now we kind of open things up again and we're kind of move past cause marketing to some degree, it's all going to come down to how do I get leads? How do I get email addresses? How do I get the data behind those email addresses that I need to grow my business? All
right, you just mentioned it. We're talking about the free. This is what I love about the summit.
Yeah.
You're not charging anybody to attend a summit with some incredible, I know a lot of these speakers. You're bringing in Gordon, obviously, good friend. You've got people from Gannett who are doing have great success with your product. Rebecca, an old friend. Ryan Dorn, Mr. Sales, is going to be doing a presentation. And rather than try to clump this together over a couple days, you're going to run this all through June. Am I correct?
We're going to run it all through June. It's going to be just a couple sessions every day. Nobody has time to come and sit in a hotel and be there for 2 days. So traditionally, the summit is a 2-day event in St. Louis every year, hundreds of people. But this has given us a chance to do it for thousands. And so what's really exciting about that is we are reaching so many more people, higher up into the C-suite, all the way down to the people who are using our tools in the market, who never had a chance to come to St. Louis to learn from the best of the best. And to learn from a Rebecca Caparelli, who was at Gatehouse and now Gannett, where they're on a path to do $100 million with promotions. And their database is growing like crazy. So we're really disappointed because we love the summit. We love getting to see our friends and our family all together. But this chance to take this out broadly is amazing. And we're really thrilled with the
Well,
with the agenda and the response that we've had.
well, full disclosure, your host hotel, which I've stayed at in St. Louis,
Yes.
overlooks the ballpark, right?
Yes.
And since there's no baseball season, you might as well not even bother going, right?
Last year we literally had the Stanley Cup playoffs in St. Louis during the
I
summer.
remember that. Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
so it was a really exciting time, and we can't translate that, but this is the next best thing, and so
Well,
we'll look forward to having everybody back in St. Louis next year.
all
But
right.
this
So,
is
so if anyone's tuning in now saying, wait a second, this is too good to be true, you have designed the summit to not be a commercial for your company, correct? This is not all about, hey, come buy my products and services. Because first of all, this is what I always ask you. Second Street is pretty. You got 4,000 media companies. It's not like your name isn't out there already. It's not like that you haven't been discovered by some of the top media. You've got broadcast, you've got radio, you've got newspaper. So why the heck are you doing this? There's got to be some expense against this, right? You're slowing down your whole company. What is the benefit to Matt Cohen and Second Street by doing something like this?
I mean, our success is our partner's success. I mean, it doesn't get any more clear than that, and particularly in the times we're in right now, that becomes really stark. And so we love to our Second Street Lab, our success team, people like Liz Kreider and Tim Diavis and Julie Foley, Paul West. I mean, these are the people that we've brought on board to help our partners succeed. So we don't believe in just kind of giving people username and password and saying, here's access to the software. We've got to take the know-how that we have from having 4,000 partners and help the industry succeed, because our success is the industry, or the industry's success is our success. And the summit is just it's a labor of love for us. It's an enormous amount to put it together, particularly as everybody's disrupted. It's been interesting this year, but the team just loves it. It's our favorite, typically, couple of days of the year. This year, we're going to spread it out to an entire month to be able to do it this way. So
But there's no free beer and wine now, right? I mean, you're not going to ship this off to all right. Second,
actually, we have a speed dating a week from Friday, a virtual speed dating. So we're going to allow people to network, because people love what happens in the conference rooms, but it's the hallways at any conference where the best action is. So we're going to replicate that as well.
All right. So anyone who's interested can obviously go to summit.secondstreet.com. Summit.secondstreet.com to look over the agenda. You can register anytime throughout the month, right? You're not going to close this thing off.
Nope. You can sign up. You can come to one session. You can come to all. It's pretty interesting, though, that the average person is signing up for 15 sessions.
Wow.
So we're really blown away by that. So I think it's a great agenda, and there's something, whether you are on the sales side or the audience side, whether it's marketing that you're interested in, or if you're a corporate leader, it's designed for a number of different tracks for each of you. So yeah, I hope people will check it out.
All right, quickly, speed dating. Let's do your top 5 favorite sessions. If I can get Matt Coen to tell us, and you can't mention Gordon Burrell, all right? Because
okay. All right, we just mentioned Gordon.
He's too overexposed. So let's put.
There's a couple of sessions on this one, but one of them is right off the bat. We're talking. We talked about it yesterday, and it will be a theme that'll come up again. Is leads. Okay. Because as you mentioned, Mike, that's what everybody wants, particularly in this downturn. And so leads are central, and so we have several sessions that are focused on leads. And if you can understand that your media company has to not only sell the top of the funnel, which for many years as newspapers, we've been the kings of, top of the funnel along with a television, but we've got to sell the middle of the funnel as well, because that's where people are spending money. They're in a downturn in particular, if they're going to spend money with you, they want to expect something measurable back. So when you're able to, as you suggested, it could be a hamburger you don't want to sell to a vegetarian, but it could be a solar panels that you want to, that you're offering. And if you're giving away solar panels, interestingly, I love this stuff. I drive an electric car, right? But in my home, which is a 100-year-old home that I'm sitting in right now, we have an old tile roof that is not conducive to solar panels. I'm not entering that contest. But we've had this run around the country. Down in Springfield, Missouri, this ran, and they had over 17,000 people enter. Over 4,000 people opted in as a lead, saying to the solar panel company, tell me more about your product. And 10 months later, 80 of them had purchased. generated $1.25 million because that's what a lead does. You need to have that lead at the end of the day. And
All
so
right,
it's all about leads. So leads is the first one.
Right. Give me another one.
Okay. Another one is really everything about growing your database, like you talked about earlier.
Okay.
So we've got 30 ideas for a database in 30 minutes. The database is so important right now because the entire economy is becoming e-commerceified. So one of the things I talked about yesterday, Mike, this is going to blow you away. In the last 10 years, we had in the last 10 years we grew from 5.6% to 16% of the retail economy had moved to e-commerce.
Exactly.
In the last 8 weeks, it's now 27%.
Yeah.
It's now 27%. So local is now becoming e-commerceified. And
Right.
what we need and our advertisers need are database, because that's the fuel for e-commerce. So everything about growing your database is one of my other favorites for sure. Rebecca Caparelli from Gatehouse that you mentioned, they have gone from 1.5 million to over 30 million in 5 years of promotions. And now that they've now connected with Gannett, and the company's now Gannett, they're going to get to their 100 million even faster. She's amazing. And the work that she's doing, the experience that she's getting, going market to market and transforming them is must see. If you're in a corporate role or in a market role, that is a must see session. That's tomorrow, Wednesday at noon Central Time. The fourth thing that I would focus in on is a series of keynotes that we're having next week. So this is Dan Osinski, who used to be the founding product manager for email at BuzzFeed, and then went on to the New Yorker, is now a consultant. And then Sean Griffey, who's the CEO of an amazing company called Industry Dive that's built entirely on email newsletters. They just sold it last year. But last year they generated over $29 million on email newsletters. And then The Hustle, president of The Hustle, Adam Ryan, which is also an email newsletter based company, kind of a B2B, B2C for kind of entrepreneurs business. Very fast growing, has built a huge subscription business on top of their newsletter business. They're all talking next week. And if you have any interest in how to build email and then monetize it and grow, those guys are can't miss.
Excellent. This is all good to know. All right. So now that we've discussed this again, summit.secondstreet.com, June 2nd through the 25th, right. Sessions every day, Monday through Friday.
Every single day.
If I register and miss one, will they be recorded? Can I go back and check them
Mike, if 30 sessions isn't enough that are live, we have even more that are going to be on demand, that are even a little bit more tactical in the tool. And so all of the live sessions will be recorded.
Right.
And then they'll be on demand as well. So there'll be over 70 sessions in total that if you register, you'll have access to.
All right. So now that I got a few more minutes of your time, you've been in this industry for many, many years. And again, you give a lot back to it. There's no question. Where do you see us going right now? I mean, you just mentioned something that's critical. Crisis creates change.
Yes.
We've seen this in 2008. We took a society pre-2008 that was okay to buy a house you couldn't afford. Debt was cool. Max out your credit card. And then we turned the millennials into the cheapest, no brand preference generation in the history of modern. I mean, there's a change now where that millennial coming through our society is a minimalist, right? I mean, we saw that in the 2008 downturn. What's on the backside of this? You just mentioned we've retrained human beings that would never have thought of buying shoes on the internet, right? That are now buying them. I mean, because they're not going out. With your years of experience in the industry, what's happening and what's on the backside of this? What do you see?
Well, I think the core trends that we've been watching for a long time, in terms of, display advertising is not going to be enough. We're going to have to be diversified. That's obvious. Obviously, we think promotions is a big piece of that kind of middle of funnel budget. But it's also going to have to come on the consumer side as well. And so subscriptions are a piece of it. Events are a piece of it. And I think there's two ways to think about that. One is we see tremendous promise in digital virtual events. Whether they're a simple webinar, it's your newspaper is having a conversation with a chef in town, or people are getting used to being at home and not having to, on the middle of the night, in between soccer practices and everything else, go travel to go see an event in person. The ability for your newspaper to really become a broadcast company and be multimedia and be able to bring those things in and have them sponsored and maybe even paid for, I think is going to be big. And then the physical events will come back. And when they come back and it's safe, I think that business will be as big, if not bigger than ever. And it'll be a great opportunity for newspapers to use their database to be able to re-enter that space that's been disrupted. So I think whether it's that, I think you're also going to see e-commerce be a bigger piece of this. I think newspapers are going to have to get back to e-commerce. I think there's room for some version of kind of deal type stuff, but there's going to be partnerships with businesses locally that you're going to be able to generate product around as well. So truly, like from our perspective, it all goes back to that database.
Well, let's go back to deals for a second, because I'm surprised it's not growing by leaps and bounds right now. You go to a business that can't right now afford advertising because of the economic crisis,
right?
But they're willing to give you product. I mean, look, I know I got to market. My budget right now is so tight and I need to market. What if I give you 6 kitchen remodels worth $100,000? You can go sell those for me. Mm-hmm. So I can get new customers, whatever you want to call it, in exchange for market. Isn't the deal model, wasn't that the basis behind it? It was a way of working with the advertiser to take product in exchange for marketing, and then the revenue would come back to the media company through the e-commerce solution. Why isn't there more growth in that right now? Why isn't that resurging? Is it just not on people's radar?
I think you're going to see it come back. I think so much of that depended on people, not necessarily kitchen remodels. Although we saw
restaurants, donuts,
it's going out.
Coffee was always number one, but now, but home improvement is hot right now.
Home improvement is hot, but what those home improvement guys want more than anything else is they want leads.
They don't want to sell them.
And I think, Mike, I think one of the other things we're seeing right now is we're seeing money on the move, right? So you're seeing people who used to advertise a lot who are not advertising, right? And those will come back over time. But you're seeing people who are entering the market now to advertise, who didn't have to over the last few years. So the home improvement people, as people have been at home, have done pretty well. But I think you used to have a roofer or a fence guy or a landscaper who kind of knew where their next 6 deals were coming from, and they just got good referral business. They didn't need to advertise. They don't know what the world looks like anymore. And so we're seeing people like them come in and say, like, good, get me 100 leads. So I know that myself and my crew are going to be busy for the next 6, 12 months. They want leads. So
what about automotive right now? There's a lot of pent-up demand. Research shows people are still going to buy a car.
They are buying cars, yeah.
They're still going to want to sell their home. Will these types of lead generation services also help these sectors as well?
So they certainly do. And we see automotive playing 2 roles. One is leads. I mean, I think like when I think about what happened when I moved to St. Louis 22 years ago, I was in Washington, D.C. I didn't have a car. It was great. I loved it. You moved to St. Louis, you need a car. So, Mike, you can imagine what I did 22 years ago when I needed a car. I went to the car dealership.
Right.
It had all the information I needed. I bought my kids a car a few years ago, right? You can imagine how that went. I figured out what I needed. I knew the make, model, price, color, details of that I was going to have. And I called up a couple Toyota dealerships and said, do you have the car? And here's the price I'm going to pay. So car dealerships, more than ever, they want those leads because they want to get in the process early so they can have influence over it. So lead generation is great for automotive. Automotive also plays in other areas that are of interest to us, but I think are in this economy going to be important. They play that community role as well. So when you start running kind of a recurring program, a best of preps, where every single week or every single month you're taking nominations for the best high school athletes, they love that kind of stuff. If you start doing a salute to nurses, they love that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of lead generation things that are community oriented that auto dealers love to be a part of as well. So you can go both on the lead side with them, top of the funnel, or you can do this blend of kind of more community, more cause-based marketing, but have a lead generation element to it so they can build database as well. Target families, target things like that. So automotive plays big in our space, but they're looking for new creative ideas to get them outcomes instead of just branding.
All right, you and I go way back in this industry, and we both have been on the same side of the industry for years, which is the sales side. I mean,
right.
I'm now a publisher of a magazine, and I've finally learned that postage and paper are expensive, right? I've never had to fulfill any of the ads that I sold. But on that sales side, you and I both attended Burrell.
Yeah.
And you were there. I don't know if you attended the session in the morning I did, where the gentleman from Haibu was on the stage from Yellow Page Industry.
Mhm.
And I asked him the question, you're talking about great products here. You haven't mentioned one piece of information about the sales. Your sellers, are you training them? He said, we don't focus on that anymore. We're doing a DIY model.
Yeah.
Is that the future? In Matt Cohen's opinion, is there still a place in the media world for that local seller to build, to
Oh,
prospect, build rapport, do a needs analysis, the discovery, the tell me, and solve a problem? Will that always be part of the equation?
I think it will always be, and now more than ever, it's our differentiation. If you have the right rep, and we see this across our 4,000 partners, the right rep can generate hundreds of thousands of dollars by being able to educate. It's about relationship, but more than anything else, it's about providing value and educating and coaching a business on how they can use their dollars productively to get the outcomes that they're looking for. So many advertisers are, and you also hear this at Gordon's conference, are bombarded with
Of
so many
course.
options. They have more options than ever before. They're confused. They want help. They want clarity. So if you can go in and do a very basic needs analysis, we have a download on our Second Street lab called the Seller's Guide that gives you all the CNA questions that you need to go for every single advertiser that's out there, 48 different categories. But you ask some very basic questions about what they really want as an outcome from their marketing dollars invested. And it's not hard to be able to fulfill that. Newspapers can put the promo and the promotion in such a profound way that they can get the outcomes that a business needs. And once you're able to deliver leads for them, they will come back to you over and over and over again. So Mike, I think that the problem that we've had when I got to Pulitzer 22 years ago, when I got into this business, there was just a lot of order taking going on.
Of course.
It just came over on the fax machines. And as an industry, that's what we've been having to shake off. But it's not just the sales side, it's the follow-up visit. When I go out and I talk to sellers and I talk to sales managers, it's amazing to me how many sellers don't actually do the follow-up call after the campaign runs. And I think the reason is that when we're selling print or we're selling banner ads, it's harder conversation to say like, well, how did it do? And you don't really have the answer to that. But what we find is when you play in the middle of the funnel, not just clicks, but actual leads or email database, that actually becomes a really fun visit for the sales rep to be able to go back after the fact and say, here's your leads. And so what we've got to do is not just be great on the sales side, we've got to be great on the follow-up side, because that's our opportunity to show the results that we've delivered and to start planning the next thing. So businesses crave that. We've got to train people and get the right people in place who want to have those relationships, and it makes all the difference.
There you go. And do you believe that the advertiser will still pay for it as a service, or will a pay per lead model become more and more and more relevant to the sales process? And I'm not advocating one versus the other.
No, I think you'll see some of it. I think that I think you'll see more of that. I think the media companies, the newspaper is going to have to get comfortable with that.
Right.
The more you run this, the more comfortable you get, because you're leaving a lot of, when you generate a $1.25 million in solar panel sales and you sold the promotion for far less, you left a lot of money on the table. So that is an opportunity, I believe, for us to leverage our databases to do that. But traditionally, we're seeing many more of these as integrated packages, but they have that lead generation element to it that makes all the difference. And
But we see that already. These companies in auto aftermarket, home improvement, financial, and health. I don't even call it health now, I call it wellness.
right.
They're already being bombarded by lead gen companies that simply buy search engine marketing and then resell the lead to them, right? They qualify a lead in their own funnel. So should that not be part? This is something that I've been thinking through in my brain. Should we not be offering a similar service? And you have the product that helps us do it.
I think so. I think, though, that what local advertisers like is they like the transparency of something that's being integrated, not just kind of a black arts
So
kind
it's
of.
part
Here's a
of the
bunch.
whole, yes.
Right. So because like when you think about that solar panel example, that actually came from a television station, but it could have easily come from a newspaper. And what you're seeing is there is advertising on the front end that conditions people to think about, oh, I didn't realize solar was that cost effective now.
Right.
I didn't realize how much I could save. I didn't realize how easy it was to come on the home. Then there's a contest that takes that audience that's now interested, grabs them, okay? But now you want to continue to run that campaign because now you have, you don't just like walk into Walgreens and buy solar panels. It's a considered purchase. So for those 10 months, you want to continue to keep your brand out there so that when they're calling on you or you're running your drip campaign against them, now they're like, oh yeah, that solar panel company, Sun Solar, that's something I'm interested in. And that's how you get to $1.25 million. So I think the brand of the newspaper still matters an awful lot. And that integrated campaign is important. People, talk about Gordon, what Gordon's research shows is that at the end of the day, people want digital outcomes, but they'd rather buy it connected to traditional media.
Well, Gordon's latest small business survey said number one reason you buy advertising is to generate the lead or get the sale. But number two was brand.
Completely.
3 was educating my customers and keeping my customers. I mean, if you go on the list, the small business doesn't see. That's why I love. Maybe I set you up for the answer, but you just reaffirmed a concept that goes back to the 1880s, developed by one of the first marketers called AIDA marketing. Remember the first marketing funnel? You've said it 3 times, but awareness first,
yes,
then interest, then desire, then the action. And all parts of those funnel to the small business are equally important. So don't just sell a contest with branding around it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the top of the funnel matters. And by the way, guess what else matters is the bottom of the funnel.
The actual
because you got to advise them on how to convert it at the end of the day. If you give them all the leads and they don't do anything with them, then that's not a victory either. But it is critical. That conversion is everything. So think about that middle of the funnel isn't just interest. It's one thing if you have me on the lot 22 years ago and you're not going to let me go until I buy a car, you don't get that benefit anymore. So when you have people out there who are thinking about purchasing them for a business, what you want is that relationship so you can be part of the conversation. And that conversion is everything. That's where everything's based on it. And Mike, what we're finding is that almost anything you do in existing initiatives should be tied to that. So if you have native advertising, advertisers love branded content. They love native advertising. However, when you do a follow-up visit, if you do it with them, do you know what they say?
I didn't get any business out of it, right?
I didn't get any leads, right? Well, if you can just take that branded campaign, we have a partner down in Jacksonville, Florida, did a over $200,000 deal with a hospital that includes branded content quizzes with lead generation in them. So that entire campaign, it's a small part of it, but suddenly becomes very different when you're building database for the customer. And so everything needs to, you need to think about the middle of the funnel in every campaign you're doing because of your value and your ability to stick around goes up quite a bit.
We're going to leave it on that note. I want to thank you, Matt Coen, for your valuable time. Once again, the summit goes from June 2nd through the 25th. Summit.secondstreet.com. No fees. It's free for the entire universe. There's no cutoff here right now. Access to every single speaker, some of the top speakers in the industries. Thank you again for providing it for free. Just to the industry, because the industry right now needs these resources. Money is tight. Also, if anyone wants to get a hold of you, your email address is impossible, right? It's Matt.
MattT@secondstreet.com, all spelled out.
You've had this
I'd love to hear from anybody. And Mike, thanks for what you're doing at E&P. Talk about what the industry needs. You've just given a real jolt to the publication, and it's so much more than a publication now. And you're just taking this brand and you're bringing great leadership to the industry. And I speak for myself. We're really grateful at Second Street to have you at the helm. And
oh my word! #blushing. Thank you very much. Everybody, and stay well, please. And we're going to check back in with you in a couple of months and see how things are rocking. And best to you and the family, Matt. We appreciate your time.
Same to you, Mike. Thanks for everything.